This is Naima Funk. Check me out at naimafunk.com. And you're listening to Some Guy Named Jay, the podcast.
Thank you for choosing the SNL Fan Podcast. And I'm your host, just some guy named Jay, like I've always been. And in this installment of the SNL Fan Podcast, what I want to do is review the Paul Rudd and One Direction episode that aired December 7th. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to South Coast Records. It's a large independent hip-hop record label that's based in Florida. And although they're based in Florida, they have talented artists from all over the United States signed to the label. I'm going to put the link in the information box below so you can check out their music. They have, it's also the same label that has Some Kosher Yuppie that's signed to the label. He has that single, In Due Time. You should definitely check that out. Like I said, I'm going to put the links in the information box below so you can check that out for yourselves. South Coast Records. Yeah, that's what's up. All right, now on to the review. The Paul Rudd episode, I really enjoyed it. Overall, for those who haven't really listened to my reviews, what I do is a step-by-step, play-by-play review of each skit. So let's start off the cold opening. They did a little parody of The Sound of Music. The thing that they, the remake with Carrie Underwood. And Kristen Wiig stops by as Dunice. A little surprise cameo. And I didn't know they were going that. I didn't know they were going in that direction with this because when Kristen Wiig popped out. But even when she popped out, I know what they were going to do. I want to say that this was kind of one of the best Dunice appearances that they've ever had because they switched it up a little bit. And like I said, I like it when they take the recurring characters and they switch them up. Instead of doing the same thing over and over again. If they would have started with a Lawrence Welk, like the typical setup for the skit, I would have been like, oh no, Dunice again, this. But I liked how they slid Kristen Wiig on in there. And it was good, I was definitely feeling it. Let's see, moving right along to the monologue. Paul Rudd, and he talks about him being overshadowed by the musical guest, and One Direction comes to stand behind him, and everybody starts cheering, and then he's overshadowed by his co-stars of Anchorman 2, Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, and David Koechner. It's good to see David Koechner back too, because I think this might be his first appearance back on SNL since he got fired. He was only on SNL for one season. The 95-96 season, and he was fired. And then the season after that, he was replaced by Tracy Morgan. Replaced by Tracy Morgan. But it was good to see them all, and they came out and started singing, and Will Ferrell kind of took over like he always does. It was great. It was great. There was rumors circling the internet saying that Will Ferrell was going to host as Ron Burgundy, and that would have been awesome. That would have been great if he would have just been Ron Burgundy in each skit and kind of playing, not playing Will Ferrell, but just playing Ron Burgundy and having him host. That would have been a good idea. That would have been a good little spin. But this was cool too. Let's see, what else I want to say about this? Oh, yeah, also I didn't mention, Fred Armisen was in the cold opening, too. It was, a little quick little thing as Lawrence Welk. That was cool. That was cool, too. Let's see, the Politics Nation, Kenan Thompson is Al Sharpton. This skit is kind of getting kind of boring to me. It's the same thing like the Steve Harvey. Basically they have Steve Harvey or, Al Sharpton, they kind of mispronouncing the words and kind of, and they're kind of old school with it, like how Al Sharpton says, you can tweet me by sending a letter to this address, like they're not up on, like they're not too keen on the technology, the way they're kind of saying it. It's getting old. It wasn't all that. But I mean, it's good to have Kenan Thompson still. I have to admit, even though I don't really like the Al Sharpton skit anymore, like it was fun the first 2 times they done it. I gotta admit, Kenan, this has been the past 2 seasons, or maybe the past 3 seasons, it's been Kenan at his best. Kenan has definitely improved. I don't care what you're saying on that Saturday Night Live message board, whatever your name is. Hold on, let me go back to the message board and see if I can pull up his name. What is that guy that always hating on Kenan? Okay, I ain't got time for that. Anyway, let me move forward. Be Profane, that's his name. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Kenan Thompson stepped his game up. Although this skit is not, it wasn't that great still. Kenan Thompson stepped his game up. All right, moving right along to the next one. The little digital short, the One Direction #1 fan. Sketches. I need to pick a word and stick with it. I'm getting tongue-tied. This has been done to death. They have a middle-aged guy who's who likes a boy band a little too much. The little creepiness to it. These creepy sketches have been done like time and time again. It was cool, but I mean, like I said, it was just you knew where they were going with this, with the jokes. And one of the little girls in the the girl with the big teeth. Doesn't she kind of look like Vanessa Bayer a little bit? Like that could have been Vanessa Bayer's daughter or a little niece or something like that, a little sister. Yeah. I did see a little mini-me Vanessa Bayer in there. Let's see. What else? What's next? The divorce skit. That was next. I like this. I like when SNL. Well, you know what I want to say about this particular skit, and a lot of the skits in this episode. They had layered jokes. They weren't just the one note, one joke sketches where you just kind of knew what they were going to do, and it was kind of repetitive. This skit, they kind of took it. I didn't know they were going to, go in the direction they were going to go with the singing and all that, and then the jokes going back and forth. This skit was layered with jokes. I mean, not saying it was. I'm not saying they were hard hitting jokes, but at least they had some good jokes in there. And Vanessa, Nasim Pedrad. She's such a great actress that she's good at acting. I mean, she doesn't even have to say anything, and she's good, and she showed in this skit, like her facial expressions, the way she looks at things and kind of turns her head, like she does extra things, and that's what makes her good. She doesn't just stand there and just wait for her line, like Vanessa Bayer does, but Nasim, she's kind of doing things in the background or kind of looking like how a normal person would do. Like normal people in real life, they don't just stand there with their hands on their side, waiting to say a line. They're checking their cell phone. They're looking around. They may be looking at a menu or something. They may be fixing their hair. That's what people do when they're in the background. Not just standing there like, okay, when's my cue card coming up? And I like how Nasim does that. Like Nasim, I'm gonna miss this because this is some good acting. And it's also Nasim's last season too. She's actually going to be on the Fox because Fox picked up John Mulaney's show, and she's going to be on that. So this is her last season. But yeah, I'll talk about her later. Let me just move on to the rest of the episode. The Story of My Life song by One Direction. Like I said, I don't rate the music, so thumbs up, keep it moving. All right, weekend update. All right, weekend update. This is one of the better weekend updates they've had in a while. I thought a lot of Cecily jokes were good, actually. This time, finally, because Cecily, she's not as good as Seth. It'd be actually like when she first started out, she was trying to mimic Seth, but it seems like now she's kind of gotten her own rhythm, and she's got her own voice now. And her, some of her jokes, I liked them, even though she was kind of bombing a little bit in certain areas. You know, certain jokes bombed and nobody laughed or nobody got it. But I did like Cecily's Joe Biden joke. I did like that. The Elton John one. I mean, she has some good ones, you know. I'm absolutely sick of Jacob, Vanessa Bayer's character. Like, that, it's hard to watch. I'm going to be honest with you. Her Jacob character is hard to watch. The first time she did it, it was cool. Second time, it was on Weekend Update, it was cool. Now it's like, okay, we know where you're going with this. We know what the joke is. Not funny anymore. You're not really killing it. Keep it moving. Find something else to do, Vanessa. Hopefully find another show to go on. Because, you know, you had, like, your best years are behind you. You know, you need to do something. You need to pull a rabbit out of your... something. You need to do something crazy now. Because you're stale now. You know, stale cracker. You know, like, you know how crackers when they get stale. And she's plain like a cracker, you know. I'm not calling her a cracker. I'm saying just plain and stale. You know, like plain stale crackers, you know. I'm not calling her that, though. I'm just saying she's that. I mean, that's a metaphor for her performance, you know. All right, let's see. Taran Killam's Jebediah Atkins. Oh my God, yes. They need to make a movie out of this. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. See, Taran Killam, man, he does his thing, man. This Jebediah Atkinson, the people liked it. This might be his Stefan. This might be his Stefan. This was great, you know. I liked every minute of it. Definitely keep doing this. And he took a, you know, he had a slight spin on it. You know, he critiqued the Christmas specials. I love his critiques, man. I love this character. It's great, man. It's great. Definitely keep doing this. Let's see. What happened next? Michelangelo's David. It was funny. I'm surprised they actually showed a small penis on a statue. I mean, because I thought it would have been censored out or something like that. I guess, you know, the way they made it, they didn't have to censor it out. You know, I mean, or who are the censors at NBC? I mean, I'm surprised they did this skit. I mean, yeah, it was lowbrow, blah blah blah. I had the little, you know, the simple. You know, the penis jokes and blah, blah, blah. But it was still funny, though. I mean, it was still funny. Everything can't be a super brilliant political skit. Like, sometimes you got to just dumb it down and do some sketches like this. And it was great. Taran Killam was great in it. Bobby Moynihan was great. Everybody was great. Nasim Pedrad, as I was about to call her Nasim. Excuse me. Nasim Pedrad, she was great as Mona Lisa. Ferrell kept popping up. That was great. Cecily's facial expressions when she was looking at the statue. Oh my God! All this it was well done. Paul Rudd kept getting mad. It was Paul Rudd's character. Everything was on point in this skit. I liked it. You know. Moving right along to the White Christmas digital short. It was great. How they pick at all the they pick at the you know like Black Nativity and Best Man Holiday and stuff, you know the movies like that, and they kind of made it like a white version, you know, of a black movie. I mean, it was funny, you know, and at the end where it said this is the Macklemore of movies, like that was funny, man. I think Michael Shea might have wrote this. I liked it, man. I liked it. I like Jay Farrell's facial expression when they were saying Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd. How Jay Farrell looked like. Oh my God, it was good, man. I mean, everything was good. The only thing that wasn't good in it was Michael Brien. But yeah, it was funny. It was funny. Man, hold on. What notes do I have here? Because I'm not even really looking at my notes. I'm just talking. Hold up, guy. I lost my place. Yeah, it was good. Black Christmas, you know, thumbs up. White Christmas, excuse me. Santa's Workshop. Oh my God, this skit was one of my favorites. Paul Rudd came out there as a Slim Santa. You know what I'm saying? And he was all clean, had his top button unbuttoned and face all shaved up and stuff. You know, with gold chains on and stuff. That was funny. Oh man, I wish I would have wrote this. I would have came up with this. This is something. This is my humor. This is just some guy named Jay humor right here. I would have wrote this skit. Yes, I would have wrote this skit. I would have. It was pretty good. Kate McKinnon, oh my gosh, she did great as the slut character. At first, I thought it was going to be like a Kate McKinnon, like when Kate McKinnon just stole it, man. Like, wow, talk about Taran. They say Taran Killam's the alpha male of this season. Screw that. Kate McKinnon's the alpha male of this season. You know, man, she did her thing. You know, came out playing the little slut. The elves had a lot of jokes too, man. Kenan's jokes. I mean, they had everybody had a nice punchline. You know, see, that's what I like about. I like it when they layer the jokes, when it's not just a one joke skit. And you know what? I think I don't know how many writers in the cast are stand-up comedians, but I think a lot of the stand-up comedians are getting, because like when improv people, when they do sketches, it's like the joke is the scene, not necessarily the jokes. Like when Martin Short played Ed Grimley Jr. Ed Grimley, was that the character? Dang, I'm supposed to be an SNL fanatic, and I'm mixing up the names. You know, when he played Ed Grimley, I must say, and doing all that stuff like that. The joke was pretty much the character, not really the jokes. You know, and the character was funny, but it didn't really have a lot of jokes in it like that. It was just how Martin Short's character was acting. But see, this skit, and I prefer skits like this actually. Like, you could tell, I guess a stand-up comedian had something to do with this skit, because it had just jokes in it, like not just the scene or the character was supposed to be funny, but it just had a lot of punchlines. Just had a boom, set up punchline, da 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 boom, da 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 boom, and it was funny. And John Milhiser, man, I knew he had to play an elf. What else? I mean, that was the role he was born to play. I mean, for SNL, I mean, you couldn't get away. He had to play an elf, And Noel Wells, man, she looks like an elf too. They had to play elves, man. What else they gonna do? Okay, yeah, that Santa's Workshop was one of my favorite sketches of this episode. Let's see, moving right along to the past lovers skit. I didn't know where they were going with this, but I liked it. I liked it after it went on. It was Cecily Strong talking to like memories of her past lovers and things like that, and she was kind of, all stroking their faces and saying, "Oh yes, I remember when I met you on that cold winter's night, and you came into my house and blah blah blah." And then Paul Rudd popped up with his greasy shirt, talking, "Hey man, I ain't too fancy." Like she was trying to, man, we was doing it back in the back alley and stuff. Oh my God, it was great. She wanted to forget that memory. Come on, we had a quick one night stand, and you remember that time you came back and we got it, your cell phone dropped in the toilet and I got it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't too fancy. I said I ain't too fancy. That was, man. This should be a character. I don't know how you could return that, but it was good though. I liked it. Okay, Santa's Workshop in this skit was see, this is just some guy named Jay humor. I could have wrote this. Yes, I could. I could have wrote this. I could have wrote that. And Mike O'Brien was funny in it. I mean, he was funny in it because when Cecily came up to him and he kind of, it looked like he pushed her face away. Like he was pushing her, like, ugh, get off me. And I think Cecily and Mike O'Brien are boom boom banging. You remember that word. Cecily Strong and Mike O'Brien are boom boom banging in real life. And when she came up to him, man, and Mike O'Brien seemed like he was kind of disgusted by her. Like, it seemed like, I mean, that's the best acting he did ever on the show. And I'm like, and this is why he's boom boom banging her, because he just, hey, get all off me. Like, it was good. But Paul Rudd, he was the king of that skit. He really killed it. One Direction, like I said, I don't judge the music. Oh yeah, and then they end this episode with a Bill Brasky. Bill Brasky. Oh man, it was one of the best Bill Braskys, you know. Well, I don't know, all the Bill Braskys were great. I'm surprised they did Bill Brasky this well. I mean, I was surprised when I saw Will Ferrell and David Koechner show up. You know, I should have known that Bill Brasky was. They was just gonna do this, you know. But I mean, it was a surprise to me, but to a lot of people, it wasn't a surprise because Adam McKay was tweeting this all this week that he's working on a Bill Brasky skit. And, you know, I don't follow any of the SNL people on Twitter. You know, I was following them, then I unfollowed everybody because I'm like, no, I'm going to follow people that follow me. I'm going to follow me, follow back person. I don't need a bunch of celebrities and stuff in my news feed and they won't tweet me back. You know, man, take my ball and go home. You know, but anyway, go back to the skit. I didn't know they were going to do it, but a lot of you knew. That Bill Brasky was funny, man. As always, Taran Killam looked kind of weird, and he looked kind of scary to me too. The way that makeup was on him, like he looked like some kind of crazy Pinocchio doll or something with that makeup, red face, drunk-looking makeup. But you know, and you know, Paul Rudd was in it. You know, and usually they would you know, like John Goodman or Alec Baldwin, whatever the host. You know, Paul Rudd played that part. Will Ferrell and David Koechner played their roles. And they replaced Tim Meadows' part with Kenan Thompson, which I knew they were going to do. A lot of people say they were expecting Tim Meadows to show up, but I just kind of figured that, no, they're just going to have Kenan Thompson do that. I didn't even think they were going to have Jay Farrell. It was going to be Kenan Thompson. And then, you know, sometimes they'd have, like, who else played in the Bill Brasky shit? Mark McKinney. Yeah, Mark McKinney played in those things, too. And I guess Taran Killam played that role, the Mark McKinney role. He kind of almost looked like an off-brand Mark McKinney in a way. But it was funny. They had a lot of jokes in that one. You know, Bill Brasky gave AIDS back to a monkey. You know, it was funny. I'm going to do my own Bill Brasky skit one day. You know, on this podcast. I would just do it just to entertain my P1 listeners. You know. Yeah, so be looking out for that. All right, so let's recap. This episode had a lot of jokes in it, finally. Let's see. The highlights was the Past Lovers skit. The divorce skit was good, too. Jebediah Atkinson. Of course, the Slim Santa and his elves. That was great. And the Bill Brasky was the cherry on top. Made me forget all about Kristen, Wiig, and Fred Armisen, because, I mean, why were they there? Anyway, what else can I say? Oh, yeah, I want to give another shout-out to South Coast Records. Check them out. Put the link in the information box below. And that's it. You've been listening to the SNL Fan Podcast. I'm just some guy named Jay. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.